Alright, so let's continue working on the wrap band. Let's go ahead and put that on. Should also assign material to this one. And let's turn our quad chamfer and turbo smooth off. Turn wireframe on. And my idea for this is going to be, I'm not sure if I'm going to show the whole modeling. Might speed up some of the modeling process for this just because it's going to take so much time to build out each of these knots. We'll see how it goes. So my idea is to create a plane. Let's convert that to an edible poly. And then let's turn our model material on that. And let's just kind of get the rough shape. So it's about there, there, comes down and wraps like that. Let's go ahead and add connect and just kind of roughly get that in place. And let's bring it back here and start to think about how that's going to bend. So maybe we'll pull these points out. Let's turn our for some reason that, oh, there we go. Let's go in the opposite way. Let's do that. And I think this, see, this would probably need to come out more. So we'll come out here. We'll drag an edge kind of down and in. So we'll just tuck it like that. Then we'll bring this edge up. And let's start kind of moving this out a little bit. Move that in. Let's add a flow connect. Flow connect I think is going to be very helpful for this part. Let's add another flow connect up here. I think that needs to go. Pretty much needs to tuck almost towards non-visible. And then maybe we move this like that. Let's go into our left view again. And reposition some of these. Move that back to where it needs to be. It should kind of go up a little bit more like that. And I'm just looking at this too now, and we might want to redo this band, but for the time being we'll leave it as it is. And then we're also going to need to build back like this. So let's add a flow connect here and a flow connect here, and start tweaking these a little bit more. Let's make sure we're in perspective too. That was just an orthographic there, which is a very terrible way to work because it's slightly distorted. It's always good to work in perspective when you're doing this kind of organic shaping. Alright, so let's just call that piece good for the time being, and then let's maybe focus on this piece here. So okay, create a plane, Let's map a material. Okay. Convert to editable poly. And let's reposition some of these vertex. That kind of comes down like that. Okay. I think I'll just drag out a selection here. Bring this forward. Bring out some new edges. Pull them forward. Probably gonna need more here. Okay. This is gonna need a tuck back in here. And we're gonna have to build back. Let's pull, push, extrude back in Z. Pull this down. Pull this up a little bit. And it's alright if it kind of pushes in there because it's not going to be visible. And then let's go ahead and let's just throw a shell modifier on here. And in this case, we want our inner mount to be 0.75. So let's paste 0.75 there. Make this 0. Okay. And let's copy that, paste it on here. Okay. Let's turn that on. So by having this set to show end result, we're able to move these this plane geometry around, and it's going to update the shell like that. And let's see here, we probably don't. Let's go ahead and delete this here, and let's center this. Let's go to world. Make sure we're in perspective again. It says it's on 0. That doesn't seem like it's on 0 though. Go to front view. See if I move that. Yeah, I guess it is on 0. Let's go ahead and use a flow connect on that. And same right here. And let's start kind of rounding this shape out a little bit. So you can see what I was talking about this taking a long time to do. It's just a lot of moving things around, seeing what works. And I was looking at some other models, other katanas, and it didn't seem like too many people tried modeling this, and I'm starting to see why. It's a lot of work trying to get these shapes right. It's very organic. It might even be easier probably to model something like this in ZBrush, but I'm just not too well versed in ZBrush. Alright, so we'll call that sort of good. Looking at this piece, this needs some adjusting down here. Let's go ahead and click on Show End Result. Try to move this like that. Okay. I think I might also add like an edge loop right there, just a flow connect. Okay. Alright, let's go into our left view here again. See what else we can do. So we got this piece here. Actually, looking at this, we need to probably get this looking a little better before making that piece. Let's pull this down again. This over. Try to match up the reference as closely as we can. I'm going to disable the shell modifier. Be a little easier to see this curve. Turn that back on. Okay. And I'm just looking at that too again. Wondering if it would make more sense to have it come out. I feel like it needs to come in like that. Yeah, just leave it like that for right now. Okay. Let's go to our opacity here. Create another plane. Convert to editable poly. And start moving some verts around. Let's go ahead and just move this all the way forward. Throw our model material on this. So just like we did with this piece, we need to add some indication of it kind of looping back around. So we'll do that. Then maybe bring this up. So I'm just kind of always looking at this. And building, it seems like just starting like the shapes, the other shapes kind of makes you understand how this shape needs to be now. So I always kind of write, and knowing that we needed to move this, should be kind of tucking up against this edge. So we'll just move that where it needs to go. Like so. Let's go ahead and disable our shell modifier real quick. Move that. Move this in. This whole edge is going to need to come in. So that shape right there, it's pretty complicated corkscrew going on. Let's throw that back on there. take a look. This is just a display issue we're seeing there. Okay. So with that now in place a little better, we can move these into place. So that needs to go a little bit more forward. And then we'll just readjust this curve. Alright, take a look at this reference again. So that tucks underneath this piece. So we need to grab this, bring it forward. Let's go ahead and add a few segments here. Do a flow connect. Flow connect here. You can see how that kind of pushes it out for us, and it kind of models that in for us. Saves us a little work. And looking at this again, probably want to bring this down and back a little bit. Maybe even further down, just to close that gap. And let's throw a shell on this. Let's copy the, whoops, don't move it. Copy the shell on here. Probably want to model this back in here. So grab this, pull it out in Y, push it back in X. Pull it up a little bit this way. Turn our wireframe on. It's going to get this positioned a little better. Maybe move that like that. Okay. Let's throw a shell modifier back on this. Okay. Take another look at this. This needs to come out here a little bit. Let's move this forward. Alright. Okay. Call that good for right now. Let's go into our left view here. Turn back our wireframe. And let's build this other part right here. Convert to editable poly. Let's throw our modeling material on this. Okay. And let's throw an edge connect on here. And let's bring this forward a little bit. Drag an edge out this way. 3, make it planar, and let's 0 it on X. And now let's just start shaping this. Okay, so we're doing that piece. Just gotta tuck around that. Gotta drag out an edge this way. Maybe bring that up. Let's go ahead and add a flow connect here. Here as well. And here. Move this around. You always kind of want to work around it. Make sure everything looks correct from every direction. That had to be stuck there. Maybe we move that like that, and then move these out. Okay, let's throw our shell modifier in here. So we need to move these around, kind of match what we have going up top here. Let's go ahead and turn that to full opacity. Alright, so we're starting to get some of these shapes built. I'm going to go ahead and take a break here, and then we'll come back. And I think I might do a few other pieces and then maybe speed it up, because it's going to take quite a bit of time like I suspected. Let's continue building these bands. This one's a little tough. It's going to come down and then wrap back this way. So I think I'll just create a plane, like we always do. Map this on there. Convert it to an editable poly. Move this into place. Bring it down to about here. We'll add a connection there. Something like that. Let's move this forward. Turn the opacity up on it. And Just look at our reference real quick. So that tucks underneath this. So we'll bring it over here. Okay. So we know that it needs to run through this section down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to mirror it in Y. Pull it over here. And let's isolate these two pieces real quick. And let's turn on back face culling. Okay, they're facing the right direction. I'm going to attach this one to this one. Grab this edge and this edge. And bridge it. Then I'll add a connect right down the middle there. And pull it down a bit. Okay, let's jump back out of isolation mode. Go to left view here. Turn this back on. And so this piece is coming up over it. So let's start adding this piece to wrap around it. So we bring this in. I'll bring this all the way down like that. And then do that. Turn our wireframe back on. Let's go ahead and add connect here. I'm going to turn back off back face culling. It's making it hard to grab edges. And then let's just pull these down. Start thinking about how that shape kind of goes in there. So I'm going to bring this up. Put another connect in here. Bring it down. I'm going to go ahead and throw a shell modifier on here. We have that right. Inner amount. Okay. Show end result. I need to add another edge loop in here. Use our flow connect. One right in here too. And that really needs some tweaking. Turn my shell off. This might be easier to go into isolation mode. Just until we get the shape inside here correct. Just throw our shell back on here and see how this is reacting. It's quite a turn right here. It's having a hard time running the shell like that. Space this out a little bit more. Let's see what that looks like. That's a little better in there. Let's go ahead and preview that. This gap needs to be closed more. If we just grab this, center its pivot, and then just scale it in like that. That kind of fixes this spot, but then we gotta fix these over here, so maybe we'll just focus on getting this looking right and then address these. So let's go ahead and flow connect here, flow connect there. Turn my shell off. Let's go back into isolation mode and try to clean up this curve a little better. Let's try moving these along the edge. Throw our shell back on this. I want to add a little resolution in between these. Up here. That needs to go down a little bit. Okay, let's exit isolation mode. See what we got going on. Move this in a little bit. A little overlap there isn't going to kill anyone. Okay, so let's put this back over here. Grab this, put this over here. And just sort of tweak this shape more like the reference. Alright, just to keep the time down on this video, I decided for this last part of the video just to make it into a time lapse. So I'll do my best here to kind of narrate what's going on here. So right now I'm just kind of positioning the band, the vertices out to reduce some of the overlap that's going on there. And if you look at my pivot, I'm working out of local mode, which makes it very easy to position these verts. So as I select a vert, it moves along that front-facing angle of that polygon, so I can push and pull it based on the angle of the polygon, which produces a little bit more easier control for moving that vertex out where you want it. So right here I just created a plane and I'm roughly blocking in that shape for that top band. At this point I'm not too concerned with the topology. I just want to kind of get just block in the shape and make sure it fits into place properly. So going into isolation mode like that kind of helps me. So after I get it kind of roughly in place here, like in perspective, I can go back into isolation mode and then tweak that shape a little bit more to clean up some of the curves. And here I'm in orthographic view, just kind of cleaning up the silhouette of that shape. And now I'm just pulling some vertices up to reduce some of the overlap on that top band. Here I am trying to extend the band back behind the knots just to kind of create the illusion of it being like connected back there somehow. This area, I wasn't too happy with the way it turned out. Just seemed like anything I would do in that area, I just couldn't create the illusion of that band kind of wrapping, uh, kind of up behind itself and then tucking back into the bands. So at this point in the video, I just had duplicated some geometry over to save some time, and I'm building that other band. So you'll see I turned off the shell modifier there. It's just a little easier to kind of see like less vertex, just to kind of clean the shape up. So you'll see me often kind of bounce back and forth between the other pieces, and that's just because I'm kind of moving around in perspective, and I'll see, I'll move one piece and I'll see one's out of whack, so I can go back and readjust it. It's kind of a balancing act. So I'm just duplicating some more geometry over to save myself some time. Get those roughly into place and then shape that top band. I'm still not happy with that band and how it kind of um, is positioned inside there, so I'm tweaking it, trying to make it look like it runs back behind the knots there. So I'm just starting to shape that lower piece there. Looks like I have some issues with clipping going on. Um, I really was having an issue with those pieces that hung down and connected onto the sheath. I think one of my biggest problems actually was trying to um, line up with the reference, because that introduced a lot of problems. So basically, what I came to find towards the end here is just kind of getting that rough shape in place, and then working with the geometry we have already in place, and then refine it to make it look like it belongs. So making that band, just modeling that band based on the reference and how it should work with the model. So here I'm just finishing out one of the vertical bands. You can see that one has some issues, kind of a corkscrew thing going on with it. So it's causing some strange shading artifacting. And I believe the way I resolved that was just adding a little bit more topology in that area, and then just kind of relaxing that area to where it wasn't, the polygons weren't so compressed. It's like I had an extra piece of geometry there, so we're going to delete that. And then I think at this point, I kind of decided to go a little bit away from the reference and start kind of working that shape into the model. So I'm kind of rotating it so that it'll fit in that band that I just selected. So that was kind of the solution I came up with to kind of make that that band look like it belongs somewhere. You can see how that ties in a little bit better. Still some issues with the clipping, so I'll just continue to refine the shape. Okay, so at this point, I've got most of the pieces modeled, and now I'm just going through, and with the vertex edge mode selected, I can go in and position these vertex and space out the segments so I can get some nice even quads um, on these bands. And that helps kind of resolve some of the issues I was having with the compression and the shading artifacting. So we're getting pretty close here to stopping the video. We're gonna, in the next video, we're gonna focus on finishing the rest of it. There's not much left, so we'll go ahead and tackle that in the next video.